Welcome to episode 2 of Better Images. I'm JP at Websites for Beginners, and we looked in the previous video at making the thumbnail if we want to use it in a testimonial. The question is, I'm pretty sure many of you have asked, if you haven't done it before and you don't know how to do it, how do I get it to be round? You showed us how to make it a small image, how to get the resolution right, all that jazz, but how do I actually go ahead and make it round? We will do that first in page builders, because page builders all have what we call border radius, and that allows you to make the corners rounder, and eventually you're going to have a circle. Then we will look at the WordPress Editor, also fondly known as Gutenberg, where you cannot do that with the default and standard blocks that come in with WordPress Editor. So we're going to look at how you are going to get around that. Here again, we have a testimonial block. So let's see what is the size of these images as they are displaying on my screen. I'm going to inspect them, and it goes down to 89 by 89. So it's a 1-to-1 ratio at about 90 pixels by 90 pixels. So for safety reasons, you can either choose 100 pixels on either side or 150 pixels. Let's just go with 150 pixels. It doesn't matter what I bring into my media library. On the front end, it's going to display at 89 by 89 pixels. We go to unsplash.com and then we choose one. I like to just play around when I'm in Unsplash and sometimes search different combinations of words, and I get the strangest things that I search for. So in this one, I was searching for gym man client. And what I got was a very interesting combination of almost something that doesn't have a man or a gym or a client at all. I decided we're going to take Bobby B over here, and we're going to work on Bobby B, make him our testimonial face of the series, and we download it for free. After we've downloaded it, we go into our Finder and our Explorer. Let's have a look at how the file looks over there. Here's Bobby B. Let's rename him, and we call him Bobby B. And if I click on it, you're going to see it's 1.96 megabytes, which is actually, surprisingly, not very big for an Unsplash photo. But you know by now that we only want to use Bobby B's face for the testimonial. I'm going to open Topaz Studio 2. And if you want to know more about Topaz Studio 2, make sure to check out the link in the description below. Then we bring in the image from our Explorer and Finder. Just drag and drop it in here. The first thing is aspect ratio. Because we are working with the circle, we want all the sides to be of equal length. And for that, we apply a ratio of 1-to-1. Go to your crop. In this case, it's in the bottom left-hand corner. Click on that. And then aspect ratio, we put on 1-to-1. I'm going to grab the handles over here. Then move it. And with these grid lines, I'm going to try and place his eye on the top grid line. A third from the top. Should we make it a little bit bigger? No, let's give more preference to his face. So I'll drag it down a little bit lower. And once I have what I need, I'm going to press apply. Again, remember to add a little bit of space at the top, because when you round that image off, it will take away some of the space here on the left and the right, and it may look a little bit cramped. So allowing for some, literal head space will be a good idea. We apply it, and now we are going to bring it down to, what did we decide on? 150 pixels. So let's see what is the current resolution of this square that we've got here. Go to Edit, Resize, and it's at 956. It's already much smaller than what it started with. We're going to take it down to 150. Keep aspect ratio checked to make sure that when you change the width, the height is also changed. We'll talk about width more in upcoming tutorials, because most of the time I cannot think ever where I actually focused on height. But when we work with setting the resolution of an image for websites, we predominantly focus on the width, and we don't even look at what the height is doing. So if you have your aspect ratio set correctly, you just need to focus on the width. So 150 pixels, and we resize. What Topaz Studio 2 is going to do is going to bring the image into full view, and that is going to look very blurry because it's enlarging a very small image. To see how the image truly looks, go up here and click on 100%. And this is the 150 pixels by 150 pixels for a square 1:1. I'm going to apply a filter in Topaz Studio called AI Clear or Clear AI, AI Clear. Click here on Add Filter and then click on AI Clear. Observe what happens to this image when I click on it. And you tell me not better at all. Let's go back to 100% and you will see what I mean. This is how it looks now. After I applied the filter, I'll click on it to show you the original. And I'll let go. And you will see as I go back and forth between the original and the application of the filter, the one with the filter just pops more. It applies more contrast and that makes the lines pop out a little bit more and gives the photo more definition. Some cases it may not look good, but I found that in most cases it works for me. So I have put my photo at a 1:1. I have resized it with the resolution of 150 by 150. Then we applied the AI Clear filter, which I'm a big fan of, and now we're going to export it with this function over here, export. We're going to put it on JPEG. We're going to reduce the quality to 4 and we leave it on Bobby B Studio. Now let's give it another name. So it's more applicable, Bobby B squared. Right. There we go, Bobby B squared. And also make sure that your color profile, always when you work with a JPEG, is set to sRGB when you are exporting for the web. And we say export. Let's go and have a look at what we've got now. There is the original Bobby B at 1.96 megabytes. And here's Bobby B squared at 7.86 kilobytes. That is so tiny, right? And when I say the word tiny, you can also remember TinyPNG. So let's go to TinyPNG. And TinyPNG is going to allow us to see if we can squeeze a little bit more out of this image. And every kilobyte counts. You may think it's not necessary, but trust me, you want to do that. We grab Bobby B squared and we just drop him over here. And 36%. We just keep getting better and better. I'm so impressed. And then we click here on download. And now we have Bobby B at 5.2 kilobytes. Let's have a look here. Here's Bobby B squared. Here is the PNG. Click on that, 5.07. That's the final outcome. Right, let's go back into the page builder. Here is the page builder and I'm going to edit it. Over here, the image. What I'm going to do is just bring in another image element and I'll drop it below this one. Click on it and bring in Bobby B squared 1. This one, click and drag it and then select. Make a few changes here because I have to put it at 100%. And now it's exactly the same squared dimensions as this container up here. How do we get the round corners? Again, you need to go and look for the container option within your page builder and look for border radius. In this case, I can find it over here under corner. So if I just go to custom, I'm going to grab the slider and drag it all the way to the right, and it will apply the maximum radius it can to this resolution image. We get that round image, and it works very nicely. But what happens if your page builder cannot do this, like what you will have in the WordPress editor? For that, you will have to go into photo editing software. I'm going to show you how to do it in Photoshop, but I'm going to show you how to do it online in a free editor, so you have access to do that very, very easily. Let's do it first in Photoshop. Go to Photoshop, and I'll just bring in Bobby B squared, the image that we had worked on previously. This is how he looks. I'm going to slightly increase him, so we just have a little bit more something to work with, and you can see the pixels coming in here, because this is a very small image that we are now just enlarging. What I'll do is I go to the selection tool over here and you click and hold and you choose the elliptical marquee tool. Go to the top left hand corner or any corner, click and drag, And after you've done that, hold Shift. Now I've missed a little bit here, so I'm going to go back again. I'm going to start over here. And hold Shift. Shift is going to constrain it, make sure that it is a perfect circle. And when you see those guidelines pop up and you see the circle come to the edges of the square, you let go. And now you've got the marching ants showing you've got that circle over there. What you do next is you apply a mask to that selection. Mask is done here at the bottom. You see this little icon, click on it, and you've got your circle. The background is cut out now, and it is transparent, is what we want. So all I need to do now is export it. So go to our file, export, and you can say export as, which I know is Alt-Shift-Control-W. Now you have the option PNG or JPEG. PNG or JPEG. Which one should it be? I'm going to export both versions because if you don't know what to answer and you didn't get it right, you will soon find out. First, we're going to choose PNG, and I want you to notice the file size of the PNG, 45 kilobytes. That's much larger, right, than this one that we got here at 5.7. So let's export that, and we're going to say it's Bobby B squared PNG. We save him. Then I'm going to export him again, Control-Shift-Alt-W. And this time I'm going to choose JPEG. 45 goes down to 17.4 kilobytes, and I can still reduce the quality if I want to, which I should be careful of because we've done it already, but I don't see a difference. We're at 4.7 kilobytes. Again, ridiculous, but let's stick to that. I just want to show you how low it can go. And we export it again. And this time we say it is JPEG. So we have exported a PNG format. We've exported a JPEG format. Let's go to the page builder to see what happens. So what I'll do is I'm going to duplicate this image twice, just for reference. Then we first change this one with the PNG. So we look for squared PNG. And what do you think is going to happen? It looks exactly the same, right? The only difference is if we click on it now, we go here to the settings and we take away those corners. We had created the circle effect. So that is gone now. Those corners that we had applied are gone because we had created it. Let's go to the last one. And this one we're going to switch with the JPEG. Go over here, Bobby B squared JPEG, and then select. And you will say, but it looks fine. Remember, this one has corners applied to it. So let's go to settings and remove the corners. And there we run into the problem when you want to have a transparent background and you save it in JPEG. JPEG does not do transparency, so it always has a white background. Even though in Photoshop you have this transparent checkerboard in the background, when you export it as JPEG, it's going to be white. So this is not going to work if your page builder cannot do rounded corners by itself. You have to remember to put it in .png or a PNG file. I'm going to just update this file and go into the WordPress editor to show you why, if you are going to write a post in WordPress editor, you're going to run into this problem. So we back to dashboard, and here in the admin panel, let's go to posts and we add new, and we call this Bobby B squared. And we say publish and publish, and we stay here. So what we do now is add an image here that we want to bring Bobby B in, and you can just click here on add image. You can go over here and say image, or you can go up here and also choose image. I'm just going to click on the shortcut for add image over here. Let's click on the media library and we look for Bobby B squared. And I'm going to choose the square one that we used originally in the page builder. Once you bring it in, you can center align it, but you can look around until doomsday come. You are not going to find any method to make this a circular cropped image like we have for our testimonials. You will need to bring in a PNG file to which you have applied that circular crop and you have a transparent background. like the one we had done earlier. So let's remove this block and go Media Library and choose this one because this is the PNG Bobby B squared. And now it's nice and circle. Your trade-off is that a PNG file for a photo image is always going to be larger than a JPEG file of a photo image. Well, this one is 47 kilobytes. It's still good enough, and we didn't run it through TinyPNG yet. Let's go and do that and see what we get. So we grab Bobby B squared PNG, and now we run him through TinyPNG. And they cut 71%. Magnificent. So if you download it, only 13.3 kilobytes. Huge difference, right? You save a lot, 71%. Now you don't have Photoshop, so you tell me that's all and well, you blah, blah, blah. It's beautiful what you've done there, but I'm not going to spend that money on an Adobe Creative Cloud subscription just to make Bobby B in a circle with a transparent background. What can I do? Let's go online and I show you how you can do this. Pixlr.com. Pixlr.com. And Pixlr has a photo editor that you can try, and it is free. They have pro options, but you won't need the pro options for what we are going to do. They're bringing out a new one called PixlrX. So we're going to click on this one. It's a very clean interface. I like it a lot. And all you need to do is also drag and drop your image. Let's start again with Bobby B squared, and I'm going to drag and drop it over here. On the left, in the sidebar, you go to the one with scissors and you see cutout. Click on that. And you have all these shapes that you can use to cut out now parts of Bobby B squared. We're going to use the circular one over here. Click on that. And I'm going to enlarge this, zoom, Control plus, Command plus, just to get Bobby to be a little bit bigger. And that's interesting. They say Control Command plus, but it actually increased my GUI of my browser. So I'm going to click here manually on the pluses so I can get Bobby B squared. Let's make Bobby B circular. Go again here to the top corner. And this one does not have a constraint. So what you have to do is click in the top corner and then go straight down to the bottom corner and don't go outside it, around there, and drop it. Did you see? We achieved exactly the same. It's for free and it's online. You can do it in the coffee shop. So now all you do is click on save. And again, you have to choose between JPEG or PNG. And we're going to say this is Bobby B squared Pixlr PNG. And why do we choose PNG? Because if you choose JPEG, the background will have a color. We're going to go for PNG. The image width is 150 pixels. That's how we had edited previously. And the image height will also be 150 pixels. You click on download. Let's go into our folder. We find where's Bobby B squared pixel PNG, 44.5 kilobytes, exactly the same as what Photoshop gave us. Well, just the 0.1 kilobyte difference, but the same. You run it through TinyPNG and you get exactly the same effect. So this was quite a mouthful. Let's just go back and understand where did we start with this. We started by making sure we've got an image that will be the perfect size for our testimonial thumbnail. The challenge we had is how do we bring in an image that is a square and make it a circular crop? We learned that your page builder can do that. In this case, when I bring in an image, set my image, and then apply rounded corners, which is your border radius. It gives you the effect that you are looking for. In the event where your page builder does not do this, or you want to use the WordPress editor, you will need to do this in a photo editing software application. In Photoshop, you do that by bringing in a circular elliptical marquee tool and applying a mask to it, or you can go to the photo editor Pixlr and you can do it in there by using their cut tool. After you have downloaded those images, make sure you run them through PNG so you can reduce the file size even more. Upload them to your library. And now when you bring in that image within your WordPress editor, You just make sure you use the one that is saved as PNG with the transparent background, and it will give you the same effect. If all of this was a little bit overwhelming, don't feel alone. I'm pretty sure Bobby B feels the same. We will do a lot of this and repeat a lot of these functions that we've done here in upcoming tutorials. So after a million years, you will be proficient. See you in the next tutorial.